This book is a sequel to book 13. My brain tells me that number 13 was an entertaining airline book, but the score I gave it was a 1 out of 10. Clearly, my brain is lying to me.
Argofunk Book Review, Argofunk Book Review.
Nancy is in Los Angeles to solve an arson mystery. The culprit is using bombs to start fires and destroy priceless Napoleon artifacts. Also, the culprit puts a bomb in Nancy's purse. I guess her purse is just for show, because this causes no problems whatsoever for her. Like, her money and her ID are both perfectly safe, even though they should have exploded. We have 3 victims today. First is Brett, a movie maker who specializes in making things explode. That should set off alarm bells in Nancy's head, but it doesn't. His portrait of Napoleon burned up while in a vault. Amanda is a rich woman whose manuscript exploded. Nancy mostly ignores this particular mystery in favor of Diana. She gets a ransom note saying if she doesn't pay $1 million, the dress belonging to Napoleon's wife will be destroyed. Oh no, Wait, the note doesn't say anything else? Really? There isn't a drop-off location or anything? Well, how does the culprit expect to collect the $1 million if there's no instructions there? Do they just expect her to leave a suitcase with $1 million out in the open, or whatever? Diana's going to show off the dress at a big party, so Nancy decides to make a decoy copy. While Diana shows off the fake dress, Nancy and her friends will guard the real dress. At this point, our heroes become insanely stupid. George decides she's going to wear the dress. Nancy points out this is a super valuable antique dress, nobody should even touch this thing, but George might look really good in it. So our heroes decide, hey, it's okay if she puts it on. George strips down and puts on the 150-year-old dress. Immediately, the dress catches on fire. So I guess that's George on the cover. Not the hairdo I expected from her. Nancy puts out the fire by dropping a carpet on George. George is clearly disoriented, but our heroes stand around and do nothing, while George wanders out to the balcony, falls over the railing, lands in a pool, and she gets amnesia. I'm not joking, George gets amnesia from falling in a pool. It's temporary amnesia, that way no one will know how the dress fire got started until the end of the book. Nancy and Bess were right there when the fire got started, so you'd think they would have seen something, but no, they didn't. Nancy strips George and looks all over the dress for an incendiary device, but she finds nothing. The end of the book explains that the flame device was hidden inside the necklace. Nancy just forgot about the necklace for some reason. I guess that's an adequate explanation of why George spontaneously combusted, but it doesn't really explain how the bottom of the bodice caught fire first. George was saved from the pool by a hot guy named Chad Bannister. She repeats the storyline from the previous book, where she dates a super hot suspect and falls madly in love with him. This book also repeats the storyline of a mean investigator who blames the wrong person. Could we maybe not do the same stories in back-to-back books? I get that the last book wasn't that good, but you should wait a while before improving it, okay? Back to the mystery, all 3 of the victims name one person as a suspect. Suspect number 1 is not interesting, so I'll skip him. Suspect 3 is a rich man who purchased the dress that George destroyed. Nancy tells him the dress he has can't be the real one, since the real one was ruined by a dumb teenager. The man doesn't care. Suspect number 2 is a crazy cat lady who is obsessed with Napoleon and cats. She buys the valuable manuscript that was destroyed. That's 2 cases of someone selling items that were allegedly destroyed. Can you say insurance fraud? It's obvious who the culprit is, right? When you've got insurance fraud, the person claiming the insurance is the culprit. In this case, it means the 3 victims are the culprits. Sadly, Nancy doesn't make this fairly obvious deduction, because it's more dramatic to have a surprise culprit reveal. The book ends with a costume party. Bess dresses up like Marilyn Monroe, while George goes as Princess Leia. Nancy goes as Napoleon's wife. The culprits are lured out of hiding when they see Nancy's wearing a copy of the burned dress. Our heroes get tied up and thrown in a dumpster. Fortunately, there are broken glass bottles in the dumpster, so the girls are easily able to cut themselves free and escape before a bomb goes off. George's love interest is revealed to be a private insurance investigator, so he arrests the culprits. The end. Postbook follow-up. I think today's ghostwriter accidentally mixed up Bess and George in this book, because Bess acts just like George, and George acts just like Bess. George falls in love at the drop of a hat, and she's obsessed with wearing frilly dresses. Those are Bess characteristics, not George characteristics. Why does tomboy George take up Bess's girly girl stereotype for a book? The book has over 10 characters to keep track of, not including our 3 heroes. Each character has 2 to 3 scenes, and it leads to some major character overload. I'm not the only reader who constantly had to check the character list to remember who the various people were. This story would work much better as a video game, in my opinion, because then you could kind of control the pace and the order of events, and it'd be a lot easier to figure out what's going on. Let me go back to that other reviewer for a sec. I agree with them that this book is not very suspenseful. The cliffhangers and near-death sequences feel half-hearted, like the author didn't want to write them. The dress on fire was the only one that felt dangerous and suspenseful. The others felt like they were just there because they had to be there, and yeah, nobody cares about them. Overall, this book is below average fare. It's not suspenseful, it's hard to keep track of all the characters. I didn't like how Nancy made some extra stupid moves here, like not figuring out the insurance fraud scam, or not noticing the culprit slipped a bomb in her pocket, or how we're gonna let George put on a priceless dress for no reason whatsoever. Dresses are fun! Yeah, I give Nancy Drew Files number 26, Playing with Fire, a 3 out of 10.